Once upon a time, a king lived in a kingdom. He was very cruel. The people in his kingdom were always afraid of him. Although everyone in his kingdom always paid their taxes to the king. If the king liked anything, he would order his soldiers to snatch it from the people. There were no rules and laws in his kingdom. The king was an unjust person. He never did any justice to his subjects. If any two people had a problem between them, they were afraid to come to the court of the king. No one could expect justice from the king. He never listened to anyone, and never cared to support the truth. He liked to grab things from the poor, and tortured everyone by his forceful rules. However, the king thought that he was always right, and there was peace in his kingdom. His queen, Sia, was a very good and kind-hearted woman. But she always felt helpless. She wanted to help the suffering people and save them from the king's tortures. But she could not do anything, and always prayed for the king to become wise and compassionate. Early one morning, the royal chefs were busy in the kitchen, preparing breakfast. They cooked tea, boiled eggs, and scrambled some with a sprinkle of salt and pepper. Toast fried in the pan, and butter spread on some and honey on others. Yogurt was poured into a bowl, and cheese was placed in another. There were warm tea cakes, flaky pastries, and cheese rolls. Sweet jam and marmalade were set out, along with fresh juices in glasses. A fruit salad with juicy oranges, strawberries, grapes, and apple slices was mixed with fresh cream and topped with honey. The chefs also prepared rich chocolate treats, velvety chocolate truffles, chocolate brownies, muffins, and freshly baked bread filled the counters. The king woke up, took a bath, and got dressed. He went to the dining room, where Queen Sia was waiting. The royal servants carefully placed all the dishes on the table, and the chefs were there to serve. The king sat down at the dining table, and Queen Sia smiled warmly.
Good morning, my love.
The king smiled and replied,
Good morning, my dear.
The chefs began serving the dishes. But when the king looked at the spread, he scowled and shouted,
This isn't what I need. Where's the smoked salmon? The golden omelet and the almond pastries?
The head chef quickly bowed and said,
Apologies, Your Majesty. We will bring them right away.
Another chef nervously added.
We will prepare your favorite dishes at once. Your Majesty.
Queen Sia, noticing the king's mood, gently placed her hand on his hand and said,
Please, my love. Don't be upset. The chefs will have it all prepared for you.
The king took a deep breath, and the chefs rushed off to make his desired feast. One day, two brothers came to the king's court. The elder brother said,
Our mother gave me all the jewelry.
The younger brother argued.
No. She gave us both an equal share.
The king frowned and asked,
Where is your proof? A letter or anything to show?
Both brothers stood silent. They were unable to provide anything. The king smirked and said,
Since you can't prove it, the jewelry belongs to the royal treasury.
The younger brother's eyes filled with tears, as the elder stood still, defeated. In the evening, the king visited the capital. Suddenly a poor man bravely stepped forward, saying,
Your Majesty. The taxes are too high. We can barely feed our families. Please, show mercy.
The king's eyes flashed with rage.
How dare you speak to me like that?
He roared. He signaled to his guards, who immediately seized the man and began to beat him. The poor man begged for mercy, but the guards followed the king's command without hesitation. Later that evening, the queen heard the news about the poor man's beating. During tea, the queen looked at the king with concern and gently said,
My dear, you are the protector of the people, not their tormentor. Showing kindness will make them respect you more, not fear you.
The king, however, ignored her and continued sipping his tea, showing no interest in her words. The queen watched the king's behavior and, with a heavy heart, silently prayed to God.
Please, let his heart soften, and may he learn to rule with kindness.
Adam lived with his family, son, daughter-in-law, and two granddaughters in a small village, where they worked hard to make a living. One morning, Adam sat with his family under the shade of a large tree. They were enjoying a simple breakfast of bread, butter, and fresh milk. Emily and Lisa packed their school bags. Then children left for school. Adam and Michael headed to the fields, where golden wheat stood tall under the sun. They worked tirelessly, watering the crops, removing weeds, and ensuring everything was ready for the harvest. Elizabeth brought them cool water and watched over their work. One day, the king came to visit the village, saw the crops, and said,
"This land and wheat are mine now."
Adam fell to his knees and begged,
Your Majesty, this land is our life.
The king, with a cold glare, shouted,
"Dare to defy me, and you will face worse."
Adam, Michael, Elizabeth, and the children wept as they watched their hard work and land being taken away. After a few days, Adam and his family went to see their land. When they arrived, they saw the crops had been cut and taken, and their fields were empty. Adam sighed.
The crops are gone, and the fields are empty.
Elizabeth wiped her tears and whispered,
Our hard work, all taken away.
Michael looked at the empty land and said,
This land is not ours anymore.
They stood in silence, feeling very sad. One day, the king decided to go on a hunting trip.
"Prepare everything for the hunt,"
He ordered. Dressed in hunting clothes, he set out with just 2 guards. Deep in the forest, the king saw a wild cat killing a rabbit and eating it. A little later, he saw that a dog came and killed that cat. After some time, the king decided to rest under a tree. A villager was passing by the jungle. The king saw that the same dog had started to bark at the villager and chased him. The villager picked up a stone and threw it to hit the dog. The stone injured the dog's leg and it started limping. The king was amazed to see all those incidents. Then, when the same villager passed by the king's soldiers, one of the horses hit the villager with its forelegs, and it injured the villager's face. The king decided to move further. When he crossed the lake, his soldier's horse, which had hit the villager, got stuck in a ditch. The horse also broke his leg. When the king returned to his palace, he narrated everything to his wife Sia. Sia asked,
My dear, what did you understand from all those events that you saw today?
With his heart full of shame and remorse, the king replied,
"Sia, I have understood that I have committed many sins in my past. I had badly tortured all innocent people in my kingdom and caused them so much pain and agony. I have also realized that doing evil to others brings only evil to us in return."
The king promised his queen that he would never treat anyone harshly, and would secure peace and justice in his kingdom. He also gave back the things he had taken from the people. Soldiers arrived in Adam's village, and one of them read aloud.
The king orders the return of their land and crops.
Adam and his family had tears in their eyes. They ran to their fields, ready to work hard again, with hope in their hearts. The king became very kind and compassionate, and all the people in his kingdom became very happy to see this sudden change in his behavior. Moral: kindness and justice bring true peace and happiness for all.